From Hamilton's devastating crash to dramatic incidents like Verstappen, Formula One has seen terrible accidents that have left a lasting impact on the sport. These crashes not only caused extensive damage but also had the potential to end careers. Join us as I delve into the tragic crashes that forever altered the landscape of F1. Let's start with Fernando Alonso, a Formula One championship contender. In a terrifying crash during the Australian Grand Prix in 2016, his car flew off the road and slammed into a wall, flipping through the air before landing upside down at a mind-boggling 200 miles per hour. Fortunately, he escaped with minor injuries thanks to the quick response of his team, McLaren. Next, I'll tell you about an infamous incident during the 1944 Hockenheim race involving Max Verstappen's father, Jos Verstappen. Jos entered the pits for a routine stop, but things quickly went wrong. Fuel sprayed from the hose and ignited his hot car, resulting in a massive fire. It was disastrous because everything around him caught fire and made breathing difficult. This incident highlighted the dangers of pit stop refueling, which was eventually prohibited in 2010 due to several more incidents. Unfortunately, not everyone is as fortunate as Jos Verstappen. During the same year, 1994, another driver was killed in another fiery accident. It was a moment that shook the Formula One world and remained one of the darkest chapters in the sport's history. Next is the San Marino Grand Prix, where Roland Ratzenberger, a relatively new Austrian driver, tragically died in a crash during qualifying. The tragedy, however, did not end there. Ayrton Senna, one of the greatest drivers in F1 history, was killed in a horrific crash the next day. According to rumors, Senna thought about not racing that day because of Ratzenberger's accident, but ultimately decided to compete. These incidents prompted significant changes in F1 safety measures, such as improved driver protection and stricter barrier and tire testing methods. While these crashes changed F1 safety measures, there have been cases where these accidents harmed even the driver's reputation, such as Nikita Mazepin. Negative headlines already overshadowed Mazepin's rookie season. His crash in the season's first race didn't help matters. I mean, let's face it, crashing in the first race is a bad start. During the Portuguese Grand Prix, Sergio Perez openly criticized him, calling him an idiot. Mazepin's relationship with former teammate Mick Schumacher deteriorated as well, with Schumacher expressing his desire to finish him. It's safe to say that things became quite serious. Next is Romain Grosjean, who was involved in one of the unforgettable incidents during the opening lap of the 2018 Bahrain Grand Prix. He was traveling 190 miles per hour when he crashed into a metal barrier. The impact force reached 67 Gs, severing his car and causing a fiery explosion. After being trapped in the cockpit for 27 seconds, it was a miracle that he managed to escape. Grosjean credited the Halo safety device with saving his life. So guys, you know that Halo is a significant safety innovation in Formula One that has saved many lives and demonstrated advancements in safety. Unfortunately, not every driver has been so fortunate. While safety measures can reduce risks, some crashes are unavoidable and tensions between teammates can escalate, as seen in Lewis Hamilton's rivalry with Nico Rosberg. Despite their history as childhood friends, their collision during the Spanish Grand Prix strained their relationship to the point where Mercedes considered dismissing both drivers. Well then, there's weather that can cause terrible crashes. Let's return to 1976. The weather was terrible at the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring circuit, and parts of the track were flooded. Interestingly, despite being the fastest driver, Niki Lauda was unhappy with the conditions. He even suggested that the race be called off, hoping his fellow competitors would agree. Unfortunately, they outvoted him, and the race went ahead as planned. During the race, Lauda lost control of his Ferrari at the treacherous Bergwerk corner. He veered off the track, colliding with a wall, and his car caught fire. It was a terrifying sight. The Austrian driver suffered severe burns to his head and hands and inhaled hot fumes that harmed his lungs. He was rushed to the hospital where he fell into a coma and almost received his last rites. Surprisingly, against all odds, Lauda survived. Okay, moving on. Nicholas Latiffi's career has been marked by incidents that have harmed his reputation. One notable crash occurred during the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where his collision ruined Mercedes' lead in the race. This incident contributed to the perception that Latifi is prone to crashes. That's not all. Latifi crashed again at the Monaco Grand Prix behind the safety car. The situation was perplexing indeed, because he was driving slowly and the car kept moving forward even though he didn't touch the throttle. During another practice session in Japan, Latifi became disoriented and ended up at a dead end. He made a 180-degree turn and went the wrong way, instead of simply turning around and returning to the track. These seem to be a series of unfortunate events for him. Latifi thankfully survived all of these crashes. However, the same cannot be said for Antoine Hubert. Hubert was involved in a terrible crash during the Belgian Grand Prix. He lost control of his car at a dangerous turn and crashed into a barrier. Then another driver, Juan Manuel Corral, hit him, severely damaging Hubert's car. Unfortunately, Hubert died as a result of his injuries. Jackie Stewart, a legendary figure in Formula One racing, faced a difficult situation when he had a crash at the same corner. Stewart's car overturned at the Spa circuit, leaving him in a position with fuel dripping onto his face. Fortunately, two other drivers quickly came to his aid and assisted him in getting out of the wrecked car. Since then, Stewart has been actively involved in leading campaigns to improve driver safety in racing. It's worth noting that Stewart initially questioned the use of seatbelts, believing them unnecessary and uncomfortable. However, he changed his mind after witnessing how new safety measures prevented fatal accidents. That concludes our discussion for today. While certain accidents in Formula One lead to positive rule changes, it is crucial to acknowledge that there are instances when drivers advocate for rule changes solely for their benefit. Some changes are driven by a desire to gain an unfair advantage. In contrast, others have significant and lasting implications for the sport of Formula One. If you want to learn more about the fantastical world of Formula One, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Remember to click that like button. Thank you for tuning in.